Hi, it's Jenny with Jenny's Wreath Boutique, and in this video, I'm going to share with you a fast and easy, high-end Ralph Lauren style Christmas wreath that is just gorgeous and classic. Let me show you the materials I'm using. I'm using this gorgeous mix and an evergreen wreath base and some gorgeous plaid ribbon. Love this. And of course I'm using my hot glue and my hot glue gun as well, my favorites and my favorite wire cutters. I'm using this base that I got from a wholesaler. I do have a free cheat sheet of my favorite places to get floral supplies, both retail and wholesale. Half of the stuff I'm going to be using is retail, half is wholesale. If you want a free cheat sheet that lists my favorites out, I'll have that linked in the description if you want to grab it. And a lot of the retail places I have on that list offer things that I get wholesale. Even if you can't buy wholesale, you can still find a lot of these things from those sites that I share. All right, first thing are these pomegranate stems. I have been hoarding these. I love them so much. And I tend to hoard things that I love. And I'm like, Jenny, you need to use these. And so I finally am. I love my pomegranates. I just absolutely love these. I'm using 3 stems. And then I have these from Hobby Lobby. I love these red berries. Oh, they are just wonderful. 2 stems for this. And then I have a juniper bush. I'm only going to use about half of this, maybe only a third. Probably a third. I've already used 2 stems off of it. But it's just a juniper bush I have. Let me know if you want one. I can leave these in my shop as well, but any juniper is fine. I just like that hint of blue from the berries, very Ralph Lauren. Also in that Ralph Lauren style, we've got these high-end magnolia leaves. I do get these from a wholesaler. However, you can get magnolia bushes from Hobby Lobby and they're great. Use those in place of these. I'm just using these because I have a lot of them. I'm using a cypress stem. I love these. It's just going to add some more dimension to our wreath. I'm also using this ribbon. I love this. It's from Michael's. They've got great deals on ribbon right now. This is 2.5-inch wired ribbon. So I think it's just going to add a beautiful classic touch to our wreath. And then you don't have to do this, but I'll show you at the end how I add these. But I just love these bells. Any kind of gold antique looking bell would be so pretty with this wreath. So I'm going to show you a couple different options at the end, either with or without the bow or with or without these bells. I have these available in my Etsy shop. However, if you want to just find any kind of bell, that works great. But these are what I have, and I'll have them linked in the description below if you're interested. The first thing we're going to do with this wreath is fluff it up. Now, you'll notice this one has a lot of long needle pine in it. Normally, when you find these evergreen bases, they're going to have a lot more of this stuff. I don't see them like this in the store often. So if you want this look with all the long needle pine, I would just grab some of these from Hobby Lobby. They're very inexpensive, and add these in, just like I'm adding the other evergreens in. Just grab some of these and add those in. That way you can use any cheap evergreen base you want. This is a 24-inch base and I'm just fluffing it up. Now, normally when I get these bases, not this particular one, I'm fluffing inside and outside. However, this is a fat wreath. It's very fluffy already. So I'm going to be moving everything outward because I do not like wreaths that don't have a middle. I want to keep showing the middle for this. So I'm actually going to be moving everything out so that we don't lose the middle of our wreath. And even with doing that, this wreath is going to have a very small middle because it's just a fluffy wreath, which is one of the reasons I like it so much. And this is going to make making our wreath go by very fast because we don't have to worry about completely filling a whole wreath. I mean, you could just use this and pop a bow on it, honestly, but I want to make it look very high end and it's going to be so gorgeous. Usually when I'm making a wreath like this, I will bring out my glue pot. I'm not doing it for this one because they can be very messy. I don't enjoy using it. And these long needle pines, if they get glue on them, they will shrivel up. So if that happens, just cut off whatever was shriveled. But since the glue pot is messier, I'm still going to be sticking with my glue gun. It's faster for me. You do you. The first thing we're going to do is add in our cypress stems. These, I have these in bundles. You can get any kind of greenery, that adds some dimension and texture. I just love these so much. I've used them in lots of different designs. So I'm just going to glue the stem. I'm kind of gluing over the middle, so if anything drips, it's not going to drip on the wreath. And then I place it. Ooh, it's kind of hard to see sometimes, but I'm placing it along the wire. There's on the back, you've kind of got a couple, actually this one has 3 different wires, and I'm placing it along this next to some greenery so it kind of holds there. And then after I'm done, I'll tip it over on the back and make sure everything is glued properly. For me, this actually takes longer than when I'm working with grapevines. But the nice thing about this pre-made wreath base is they are perfectly round. So you don't have to worry about getting a wonky grapevine that's a little out of shape. So that is one bonus of these. And adding this extra greenery on a pre-made base makes the wreath look so much more realistic and high-end, which is why I'm doing it. Let's see. I'm going to do 5 of these on the outside, and then I'm going to cut some of them in half to do the inside. And I'm gluing each stem. And then as I pull back some stuff, I make sure to hold the stem away from the wreath so it's not dripping any glue on the wreath. So now I'm going to cut these in half so that I can use less, but make sure it's incorporated more in the wreath. And since they're going to go in the middle, they don't need to be quite as large. So I'm just going to do 4 in the middle. All right, here it is with one kind of extra greenery added in. Doesn't it already look so much better, more realistic? Now we're gonna add in just a couple of these, not a ton, maybe like 3 stems cut in half to make 6 stems. You get a lot of use from one bush. One thing I don't love about these bushes, just to be completely honest, sometimes these things fall off. If that happens, you just glue them back on, no problem. You can just, make it take a little bit longer. This one's actually pretty good. So I'm just cutting them in half. As you'll notice, when I'm cutting, I cut right above the next stem, just like if you're pruning a real bush. That way your stems are as long as possible. They're still short, but it's as long as it can possibly be. And we're just gonna add these kind of on the inside and outside just to add a little more interest and texture. But even though this is a completely different kind of greenery than our cypress, we've got juniper and cypress, they look almost identical. It's kind of crazy. But I like that little pop of blue. If you wanted more juniper showing, you could add something like this. This is what I added in a pomegranate wreath that we made inside my VIP group. And oh, I just love those. It was a very high-end look, and I am sold out of those right now in my Etsy shop. That look is very popular right now, so I'm making a similar version here. But that's another greenery you could use. So I might have these in my Etsy shop. I'll leave the link below, but if they're sold out, I apologize. But the retail shops that I have on that supply list you can grab, or that cheat sheet of my favorite suppliers, they have those there as well. Okay, now that's all we need for the juniper. Just add some more interest into the wreath. Isn't it beautiful? This would be a really pretty winter wreath too before we add all the red. Now we're going to add a broadleaf, which is our magnolia leaves. You don't need a lot. If you're using the bush from Hobby Lobby, you only need like half a bush. So it's not that expensive, which is nice. And this is just really going to transform this wreath, giving your eyes a little bit of break from all that long needle pine. I like having some of the leaves face backward, so we have that brown poking through. And I'm going to rotate. Some are going to be more on the outside, some are going to be more on the inside. Just adding these kind of sporadically. It's not going to be super thick, just an accent. I'm going to take off a bigger leaf to add in over here, I think. What is it about magnolia leaves? They're so pretty. I wish we could have real magnolia trees where I live. They just don't grow well here. A little bit more brown. Okay, that looks so good. I would leave it like this for winter, right? Maybe add some pine cones. This is so pretty. I love it. Love, love, love. Okay, now we're gonna add our pomegranates. And I like that these are kind of branchy ones. We've got these other pomegranates that are more like a pick, very beautiful. These are just more branchy, also beautiful. And if you can't find good pomegranates, use a red flower. So I'm just cutting these. So I have 2 stems per branch, per spray, I should say. So we've got 3 of this kind that have 2, and then 3 of the longer ones that have 1 each. And on the bottom, I am going to just cut off this little leaf cluster so it doesn't get in the way. So first I'm going to add our double ones. I'm going to add them kind of toward the middle. So we've got that beautiful red toward the middle of our wreath. We've got 3 of those, so we're going to do about 1/3 of the way around for each stem. And I say about because I never place them perfectly. And then our longer pieces are going to go in between those, and they're going to bring that red out a little bit. All right, here it is with the pomegranates so far. Now we're going to add our red berry branches, and we actually Don't need a full 2. Okay, so I'm just going to pull this apart like that and then cut in 2 pieces. So we just need 3 clusters really. So these are going to go in between our red, kind of like in between these, so it doesn't quite look like a triangle. I love the clusters, and you can add more if you want more of the red berry look. All depends on your own taste and budget. So it doesn't matter if you use these or these, whichever one you want. This one is more branchy looking, this one's more clustery. I'm gonna use the clustery one for this, and then the next one I'll use more branchy ones. There. Okay, before we add our bow, I'm going to turn this wreath over and make sure everything's glued properly. You can kind of see some stems sticking out. I'm just going to add extra glue to any stem I see and make sure it has good contact with things, because it's kind of hard to see when you're making it. This is another reason why I much prefer glue guns to glue pots, is you can bring it back here and add extra glue if you need to. And then extra pieces that are sticking out a little too far, I'm just going to cut those off. I'm so used to placing things along the grain of the grapevine, so this part is a little slower than normal. That's okay. Our wreath is gorgeous. All right, everything looks pretty good. You can hang this wreath just by placing your hook under these wires. That is totally fine. However, I like to hang mine from a loop because I sell my wreaths and I want the customer to hang it how it looks best. And so I like to add a loop, and then it can sit a little bit lower on the door and not quite as high. But it's super easy. Just tie a little jute loop around the wire. And then you have your, oh, it's a beast. Gosh, it's gorgeous. And you have your beautiful wreath. You can either add it to your door. You add the bells first, like where you hang it, and then you place this over it. And then you have some gorgeous bells. So pretty. I love it. I actually really like a plaid bow on this on the bottom. And the reason I like it on the bottom is because I don't want my bow tails covering up all of the beautiful things I've added. So I'm just going to add a little plaid bow to the bottom. And I'm keeping this very simple. I know it's wired ribbon. I'm just tying a regular bow, and I am leaving this part long so I can make my loop and have some ribbon tail left over. The longer ribbon you want, the longer you'll keep that tail. I'm leaving mine on the bottom so it doesn't have to be super long. And you just make a bow. And then make sure your middle is, you know, substantial, not just a little knot, but cute. Then adjust the bow to the size you want. I just want it to be a cute little accent. I don't want it to be overpowering. And then I'm just going to overlap my bow tails, fold it, and then make a dovetail. Very simple. Then I'm just taking a little piece of leftover stem. This is one of the leftover stems I have from my pomegranate. And then I take some wire. You stick the wire through the back loop of the bow, the back middle part, I should say. You don't have to do it this way. This is just how I like to do it because it's easy to add to your wreath. And then you twist it on the back. Now you can either use this wire to tie it. Can you see that? You can use that wire to tie it directly to the wreath if you want. But what I like to do is just add a little pick using that trash stem. Probably not a very good thing to call it. And then I am going to dab a little bit of glue here to hold this in place. So now we have a nice little pick for our bow. And I'll fluff it up a little bit, don't you worry. Cute though, I love the plaid. Just really simple and classic. I like to hang it up first when I'm adding a bow like this. So I'll go hang it up on my door, add the bow where I want it, and then bring it back inside, glue the bow in place. But for right now, I'm not going to glue it. I'll just show you so that you can see the bow. I like to add it a little bit higher up on the bottom. And then of course, when it's in the right place, I will make sure I glue it. So I'll just say I'm going to put it here, but I'll do it on the door. And then I will glue it. But here it is with the bow at the bottom. I love the look of it on the bottom. It's just so pretty. That is so gorgeous. What do you think? So beautiful and so classic. I love it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. Let me know if you like it with just the wreath and the bells, or if you like it with the bow on the bottom. I would love to know what you think. And all right, I will see you in the next video. Bye.